This is the ultimate guide to Oritech. This is a new mod on NeoForge and Fabric for 1.21.1, and it has blown my mind. This is going to take you through everything from world generation behind me to basic power generation. We have assemblers, centrifuges, pulverizers. We've got lasers. We're going to be looking at logistics and power gen that's more complex, advanced power gen, and automatic farms like the one you see me behind me. We're also going to look at crazy stuff like this, which is a particle generator or accelerator, and even looking at transporting things with drones. If you're new here, please do click that subscribe button. If this guide is helpful for you, I cover everything modded Minecraft, making sure you've got all of the latest guides that are up to date for every single mod in the game. So, starting off with world generation, Oritech adds 2 new ores into the game. This is nickel and platinum. Nickel can be found about Y level 40 down to minus 65 in Deep Slate, and platinum ore is much rarer and can be found about minus 2 to minus 60 in the overworld, but is really abundant, as you can see with this one in front of me, in the end dimension. You are still going to want to get gold, redstone, and some diamonds, etc., because these are going to be used in the mod as well. But that kind of goes without saying, you're probably getting those anyway. The first machine we're going to be making is a basic generator. This is how we can actually generate some power. So let's have a look at the recipe, because some of the recipes in here are really interesting. And there are other generators in Oritech. It's a really, really cool mod. So when we look at the recipe here, you're going to see we're going to use some nickel, which of course we could just smelt up as mined, and we're going to need some magnetic coils. Now, magnetic coils will require fine wire and steel. Fine wire is simply 3 nickel ingots, and steel can be made in a crafting table with 2 iron and 2 coal. So that is actually a really easy way of getting it. Now, you will see in this one that I'm showing you, it says steel ingot from Mechanism, whereas the recipe is from Oritech. That's because I'm looking at this in a mod pack. So that's how we make steel and fine wires, which helps us get our basic generator. You can see here it says hold control for more info. So when I hold this on, you can see it says add-on slots, none. It is not allowed any add-on slots, and it's going to produce 32 RF per tick. And the energy capacity is 50,000 RF. So this is how much energy it will produce and can store. So let's place it down. We've got our basic generator here. We can go into it. And I'm just going to put in some coal blocks in here. And you can see the power is going up in the machine. And we are generating power. The next machine we would be using would be an assembler. So how do we get that power to the assembler? Well, we're going to make some energy pipes. If you just want to see the Ori mod, you can just put in @Ori in JEI and you will only see everything from Oritech. If I put in pipe after that, we can then see we have a energy pipe here. And this is going to use electrum ingots and fine wire. So to make electrum ingots, it's going to be 2 gold and 2 redstone. And that is another ingot that is added by Oritech. But of course, it is an alloy, and therefore we must make it as shown. And that is how we use our energy pipes. They're really simple to use. We could just attach this to any side of the basic generator over to a machine like the assembler here, and it will automatically start powering the assembler from the power made in the basic generator. So the second machine we would make then is going to be the assembler. This is a really interesting piece of equipment. To make it, we are going to need some slightly more advanced materials yet again. We're going to need an adamant ingot. And to make that, it's going to be 2 nickel and 2 diamonds. That's our second alloy we will make in Oritech. We will also need some motors, which is some steel, some magnetic coils, etc., which we've already seen, and some reinforced plating, again, very easy to make. So when we place down the assembler, I place it here near the basic generator you made earlier. If I place it here, you're going to see that only 1 block has actually been placed, which is really interesting, right? So we are going to need some machine cores. So if I put in machine core into Oritech, you will see there's a primitive one, a basic, an improved, an advanced, an elite, an ultra, and an ultimate. The primitive being really super easy to make, basic still being fairly easy, improved needing a few more advanced materials like nickel or carbon fiber strands, which we can't quite make yet. And you can actually use any of these. What this will do is it will add how many layers of add-ons you can add into the assembler. We're not going to be looking at add-ons quite yet, but just be aware that's the only difference. It's not going to make it any faster or anything. If you're not going to be adding add-ons onto the machine, you can just use primitive, whereas an ultimate will actually have lots of add-ons. How do you know the quality of it? Well, in this assembler I made earlier, I used a primitive machine core. And in the assembler, you can see on the top left, it says machine quality 1, controls how many layers of machine add-ons can be added. Use better quality cores to increase it. So that's a 1. If I then used a ultimate machine core, which is needing a superconductor and promethium, which needs quite a lot of crazy stuff, which we can't do yet. If I add these machine cores, which by the way, how do we know where to put them? Well, if I right-click with an empty hand, you can see that the assembler is missing core blocks, and it's showing me here, here, and here. So you need to place them 1, 2, and 3. What you can also do is just right-click the assembler, 1, 2, 3, and it will automatically place them where needed. Clicking it once more, ta-da! You have now built the assembler. It's going to automatically connect to the energy pipe that I'd already placed, and now it is ready to use. And in this assembler, you can see the machine quality is 7 because I used the ultimate machine cores. So on the right-hand side, we have details. You have default, fill evenly, match recipe. Default fills the slots from left to right, move to the next slot when the first has been filled, fills items evenly, new items are always put into the lowest matching slot, or inserts items balanced accordingly to matching recipes. And then if we click add-ons, you can see where you can place your add-ons on the machine. But again, we're not going to go through add-ons right now. If we look what we can actually make in the assembler, this is going to be used to use multiple items and assemble things, quite literally. So you can see here we can make processing units, we can make basic batteries. You can even do things from vanilla Minecraft, like we can put free paper and a piece of leather in here, and it will make 2 books. And it shows you it will take 15 seconds to do that. And what we can also see is that, remember with fine wire, we can use 3 nickel ingots to make 4. Well, in the assembler, we can actually use 3 nickel ingots with an added copper ingot to make 12. Whereas previously, to make 12, we would have needed 9 nickel. So now in the assembler, we've already made things more efficient by only needing 3 nickel with an added bit of copper to make 12 fine wire. The same goes with magnetic coils and motors, things like that, making them much more efficient to craft. You can see all of the different recipes we can make in here using the assembler. Let's actually show you how to do it. Let's do the one we just done, because this is such a cool mod. So I'm going to put 3 nickel in here. I can put multiples in. And then I'm going to put my copper ingots in here. And look at it go. Isn't this amazing? It's a really, really cool looking mod here. I absolutely love it. And you can see it's quite fast, and we are making our fine wires. The next thing we're going to look at is a furnace. Specifically a powered furnace. This is this one here. Again, to make this, it's just as simple. We're using some platinum ingots, which of course you can find, as I said, between -2 and -60, and a lot of it in the end, and some magnetic coils, etc. With a powered furnace, it pretty much does what you probably think it does. If we just place one here and then set up some energy pipes to it, you can see it needs a machine core. So I'm going to right-click that on and right-click it again. And here we go. We now have a powered furnace. It's automatically got power because I've attached the energy pipe to it. And in here, I could just put in things like, iron ore. And it's going to, rather than using coal, etc., it's actually going to make iron ingots or whatever we're needing powered rather than using combustible items here, and that's the powered furnace. One of the first other machines you will need to make in Oritech is going to be a centrifuge. We make this just like our other items, so we make a centrifuge and it's made as slightly bit more complex. Again, blocks of iron and some motors, which we've looked at before, and also glass bottles. So we're going to place down the centrifuge, and again, it's going to need some machine cores. So we can see here missing core blocks. So I'm going to place it on there and right click it again. And ta-da, we have our centrifuge. Now I'm feeling lazy, so I'm going to use a creative energy cube from Mechanism to power this. There is actually ways to store energy. We'll be looking at that later. Centrifuge. And this is going to be used to also make, just like the assembler, other items. So when we centrifuge items, we can get, if we put a platinum clump in here, we can get a platinum gem and some fluxite. We can put in a gold clump. And gold clumps, etc., by the way, we're getting from something called fragmenting, which we're not talking about yet. But it's just to show you that you can get kind of secondary outputs from the centrifuge here. One of the main reasons you need to use it at the moment is powdered coal or coal dust will need to make carbon fiber strands. So coal dust will be used in a pulverizer, which is another machine we'll again going to be looking at shortly. I probably should have shown you this maybe the other way around. My apologies there. So you can pulverize coal in the pulverizer into coal dust, and then you can put that into the centrifuge to make carbon fiber strands. You can also use fluid separation here. We've got some water in our centrifuge and some dirt, and we can get clay. But when we go into the centrifuge, what you will see here is that it doesn't look like we can do that. So this is where add-ons come in. So if we go into here and click add-ons, you can see we can add them on the sides here where the plug sockets are, which are these little plug sockets you can see on each side. So what we need for this is a machine fluid add-on. And to make the machine fluid add-on, we will need the carbon fiber strands I showed you, a fluid pipe, and some silicon. So silicon, again, is made in a pulverizer where you pulverize nether quartz into quartz dust and then add it with 2 sand to get raw silicon, which you can then just smelt into silicon. And then carbon fiber strands, again, in a centrifuge, it's coal dust, which again you use in a pulverizer. Fluid pipe, again, using some silicon, and electrum ingots, which we've already gone over. So you get a machine fluid add-on. And then what you're going to do is you place it up against one of these add-on slots. So here, machine fluid add-on to our centrifuge. And now when I go into the centrifuge, you can see it's actually got water tanks as well. And what I could do is get a water bucket, and I can't see it very well because it's behind here. But I could put a water bucket in this bucket slot. Bucket comes out on the right side here. If you can sort of see that. There we go. The bucket comes out here, and then it's filled it up with another bucket of water. Meaning now, when I put my dirt in here, it's going to process the dirt. As you can see, it's centrifuging it. And eventually we're going to get, I think it was clay, I said. And there we go. We got some clay. So we've separated the dirt with water to get clay. And that is how we use the centrifuge. So the first one is items, and the second one, you can say it says fluid separation. And that will need the machine fluid add-on here. Next up is, you guessed it, the Pulveriser. It's pretty going to be quite self-explanatory at this point. Quite easy to make. Get the Pulveriser. You are going to place it, power it, and it will pulverize things. So if we look into here, we already know, one good thing is you can make dyes from flowers from it. If you actually pulverize things like nickel ore, you will get 2 raw nickel. You can pulverize glowstone into dust, and then looking at the things we really need here, you've got like nether quartz into quartz dust. You've got adamant ingots into adamant dust. You've got iron ingots into dust, coal into coal ore into coal, and then obviously coal into coal dust. You can also make packed wheat. So there's 4 wheat here going into packed wheat, and that will make biomass, which is used for a few things as well in Oritech. You can make ender pearls into enderic compounds, and coal into coal dust. And coal dust being needed for a few things that we make, like with the centrifuge, etc. And that is the pulverizer. After making your pulverizer, the next thing you're going to want to make is a foundry. Same as before. Very easy to make. Use your machine halls, etc. And when we look at the foundry, you can see here we can make more efficient alloys here. So remember with making steel ingots, it was 2 iron and 2 coal. Well, in the foundry, it's 1 iron ingot and 1 coal dust. So it's made it 50% more efficient for making steel. You can make bio-steel ingots of raw poly, which with your packed wheat, remember, you can make in a centrifuge. You can then make raw biopolymer. So we're really starting to see how things are coming together now. We can use 1 gold ingot and a netherite scrap to make a netherite ingot, whereas usually it's like 4 netherite scraps and 4 ingots. So netherite is much easier to make. Electrum, rather than using 2 gold and 2 redstone, is just 1. So once you get the foundry, things get really, really efficient with making alloys and things like that. I'd really recommend you to make a foundry as soon as possible after making your pulverizer. Speaking of being more efficient, let's now look at the Fragment Forge. This can actually enhance your yield of ores. When ores are processed in a Fragment Forge, they're broken into clumps and small clumps. We can look in here and you can put in your iron, for example. In fact, let's do iron. Let's get 1, 2, 3 raw iron. Let's see what happens in here. So while that's doing that, I'm just going to show you what we can do in the... God, I think I'm dying back here. In the Fragment Forge. So 1 raw iron usually will net you, when smelting, 1 iron ingot. However, with the Fragment Forge, when we melt down, or, well, fragment up 1 raw iron, you will get an iron clump. An iron clump can be put into the fluid separation of your centrifuge to make 2 iron gems, and that will make 1 iron ingot each. So just by using raw iron to get the iron clump, separating it, we can turn 1 iron into 2 iron. However, we also get small iron clumps. We get 3 of them. These small iron clumps, you can turn 9 of them into 1 iron clump. And 1 iron clump, again, can be turned into 2 iron gems. So now, if you think... So basically, from 1 raw iron, we get 3 of these. So 3 raw iron makes us 9. So every 3 raw iron gets us another 2 iron clumps. We also get 3 small nickel clumps. And the same goes for that. So 3 raw iron will get us 1 clump, which we can centrifuge to get 2 nickel. So, if I look in here, we've nearly done it. What we can actually do is turn 3 raw iron into, and I have to do some mathematics here, we can turn 3 raw iron into 8 iron ingots. Is that right? Yeah, 4 equals 8. Yeah. We can actually turn 3 raw iron into 8 ingots and get an additional nickel, 2 nickel ingots as well. So that is super efficient. And I love the Fragment Forge for it. If you are processing nickel, you can actually get some small platinum clumps as well, which makes a platinum clump. Which makes a platinum gem in the fluid separation of the centrifuge. And therefore we can get platinum ingots as well through the Fragment Forge. So the Fragment Forge is really, really, really efficient when using ores. moving on, we have one of my favorite items. This is the Enderic Laser. So I can place that down, and again, it needs a machine core. Lovely. You can power it from any side. And this is really, really cool. So you need to make another item of this, and that is the target designator. Let me just check the recipes on here, make sure I'm not missing anything weird. Adamant ingot, I think we explained how to make those. Yep. Carbon fiber, that's in the centrifuge. Enderic compounds. We spoke about that in the pulverizer. Motors. Yep. Okay, we're all good. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, any steps out. So, when you've made your Enderic laser, you also need to make a target designator. That's going to use some steel, electrum, plastic sheets, again, which is made from raw biopolymer in the centrifuge. So raw biopolymer, you can use some packed wheat or even solid biofuel, which is something else, and processing units, which are made in the assembler using plastic sheets, carbon, etc., etc. So a little bit more complex, but still, following back what we've already learned, these should be fairly easy to make. Target designator. So what we do here is we set a target. So I have here a budding amethyst, and I'm going to shift right click the budding amethyst bud, and it says on the left there position stored. What I'm then going to do is shift right click the bottom of my laser, and can you see it says position saved to machine? Now what this is doing is it is now firing a laser at the budding amethyst, and it's going to accelerate how fast the buds grow. As you can see here, it is going to use power, of course. But what it's also doing, as well as enhancing how quickly it's doing, you see that the amethyst will actually suddenly smash. Well, what that is doing is it's making fluxite. It's overloading the budding amethyst and making another material for us, fluxite. Fluxite is used for some really advanced machines in Oritech, like the arcane catalyst and a big solar panel and things like that. We can also use fluxite for making basic batteries and flux gates and all sorts of advanced materials. And that is how you make it. We can speed this up. I could say this side, position stored, do that on my laser. But what you can see is the laser isn't firing. That's because I've added a redstone signal with a lever. So you can add, I can add more here, more lasers, increasing how quickly we grow our amethyst, as you can see here. So you can add loads of lasers pumping out amethyst and overloading them to make the fluxite here. And that is how we use Enderic lasers. What you can also do with an Enderic laser is, if I just break this, the lasers have stopped. What I can also do is get a target designator, and I might just designate here on the ground, put this on my laser, and it is just going to start shooting the ground. And it should actually be collecting, the dirt that it has gotten as well. What you could do is put a block placer. Maybe you have like an automatic mining sort of thing or something. You could have a block placer, placing items and having a laser mine them, maybe, something like that. I'm just thinking uses that this could be used for. And let's say in my Fragment Forge, let's actually place another one. There's no power in it. Well, I can also designate the Fragment Forge and then shift click the laser, and that is actually going to give power to the Fragment Forge. You can use it in that sense as well to power your machines wirelessly by shooting power from the laser into any of your machines, as I just did. You can see it's already fully charged. Now, I know what you may be wondering at this point. Okay, we've looked at all these amazing machines, but how are we actually moving items and power around? Apart from the Enderic laser, of course, which we've just looked at, moving wirelessly. So, there's a few items we can use. There is the item pipes, for a starter. So we also know that the Enderic lasers, which are a great example, will actually gather up the items that they break. However, we need to actually move these somewhere. Please bring in the item pipes. I can right-click this onto an Enderic laser, and then I can bring it over to my chest here. However, none of the items are actually leaving it. Well, what we could actually do here is right-click where we want it to come out of, and it will automatically extract from that side of the machine, as long as, of course, that side of whatever machine we're using can actually allow items to output from it. And these are automatically now going into our chest. Really, really simple. You can also make a pipe wrench, which I can right-click, and it will disable it from connecting to the chest, and I can right-click it again to reattach, and I can shift right-click to break that pipe piece. What we could also add here is this item, a pipe booster. Now, this will need powering, and these pipes can extract quite a lot on their own. However, if we add a pipe booster, and I'm going to face it towards the pipe I want to extract from, well, or increase, the speed of, we can see his little arm comes out and then goes in. That's because it needs power. Power here. Now, what these pipe boosters actually do is it means that we can actually extract items and fluids up to 40 buckets per tick and extract an entire stack of items every tick, which is super duper fast. Now, of course, we can't extract fluids through the item pipes. If we put pipe into Oritech, you can see there are fluid pipes, which obviously do the same thing, but for fluids rather than items. An energy pipe, which we've already been over. Now, these can do 10,000 RF per tick. There is also the superconductor, which is the next tier up. It cannot connect to normal energy pipes, but it can extract an insane amount of energy. In the assembler, you are going to have to use fine wire, energite ingots, which is using fluxite and nickel in a... Would it be an assembler? An alloy, sorry. In the Foundry. A flux gate, which uses these items, processing units, etc. We've already looked at, and dubious container, which needs some items again we've already looked at. So that's how you make the super duper flux transfers, and that then concludes fluids, energy, items, and pipe boosters, and the wrench. That's how we're going to be moving around all of our items, etc. And one other thing I've forgotten to tell you about. Oh my goodness. I was just looking at our creative energy cube then, and I thought, I've forgotten something. And that is going to be the creative, not just the creative, the energy storage. So Oritech will by default use RF, which is the general kind of energy from modded Minecraft. It will utilize the Reborn Energy API on Fabric and FE on NeoForge. So any generators that you make, which we've only gone over the basic ones so far, will actually always output energy. And any other machines that accept energy from all sides won't output it again. One other thing is these cables, when they actually hit a machine, they can store 10k energy at the block that is connecting to them. So there's a bit of a buffer, basically, outside of the machine in the cables, but they don't store it in like all of the cables, I don't believe. So we have energy storage blocks. There's obviously the creative one. I've got a portable energy storage as well, which I can place here. If I place it like that, you can see the red side is now facing up, whereas on here it was facing this way. And this will basically accept energy from all sides, but only output it on the red port. You can upgrade these massively. We have a large energy storage here. I can plop down. And then again, use machine casings to add on to this. And these are obviously much bigger batteries. So that's how you can store your energy as well in Oritech. The next one on our list is going to be the Atomic Forge. So this one is a lot more advanced than the previous, and as you can see, it's quite big. Now, this cannot be powered by traditional means and must be powered by Enderic Lasers. What I have done here is I've hooked up an energy storage cell. Remember, red is out, and then I'm just using energy pipes into some Enderic Lasers, and then I have used the target designator. I've shift right-clicked on the Atomic Forge, and then I'm just shift right-clicking on the bottom of my Enderic Lasers to link it to the Atomic Forge. Now, if we go into the Atomic Forge, what you can see I've got here is 2 fluxites, making some iron dust. So what can we make in the Atomic Forge? Well, it's a lot more advanced items. If I put an iron gem in it, what we're doing is we're engraving things in here. So I could put iron gems in with fluxite on the top and bottom, and it's basically engraving it into iron dust. So you can basically double your iron gems once more. I really am going to have to do an auto, like an ore processing guide for this mod and work out what the maximum ores we can get, if duplication is going to be. I need to do some maths on that. But we can get Eisenberg compensators using an unholy intelligence. More on that. In fact, let's go through that now. So to get unholy intelligence, gained by capturing a viable entity with the dubious container. The dubious container is here. Simple enough to make here. You basically use it to capture an ally, a Vex, or a Phantom. And then that's when you get the unholy intelligence to make an Eisenberg compensator, which is used for some crazy stuff. So we can make silicon wafers, gold dust, etc., reinforced deep slate, super AI chips, promethium, platinum dust, advanced computing engines, and things like that. So you put each thing on top and bottom, and then whatever you're using to engrave on the left. So recipes go in. With this one, it would be the iron gems would go in here. And then you can see the lasers will automatically start working once they need to, making the dust here. It will use the fluxite in the top and bottom as well. And the more lasers, I think it uses a lot of power, as you can see. So you're doing a few lasers, I think, on this one. But there you go. That's how we use the Atomic Forge. And again, you must use lasers on this machine. Considering that we are now talking about using a lot more energy, I think it's the perfect time to talk about what other generators we have outside of the simple generator. So we actually have 4 total generators. There is the fuel generator, the basic generator, the lava generator, and the bio generator. So first up, looking at the bio generator here. Get this started up. If we go into it, what we can see in here, I wonder if we can look at it with you. Yes, we can. We can look at what biomass we can put into here to make power. This is going to generate up to 64 RF per tick. Well, sorry, not up to. It will generate 64 RF per tick, I should say. The only difference is how long the burnable item lasts. Using solid biofuel will last for 160 seconds. Packed wheat is 200 seconds. Unholy intelligence is 3,000. And just simply, bio-organic materials like carrots or saplings will be 15 seconds each. You've also got raw biopolymer and actual biomass itself. Remember that we can make biopolymer in the centrifuge. So looking at this, it looks like packed wheat may be the best one to go for, unless, of course, you are using unholy intelligence. And we could just pump that in with an item pipe. Then we have the lava generator. You've probably guessed what this one can do, of course. With a fluid pipe, we can actually pump in lava to this one, and it will turn lava into the same as the bio generator, 64 RF per tick. So in order to actually get the lava into here, we can use another machine called a pump, which I have made here. So the pump can be used to basically pump up liquids, not water, beneath it, like lava, for example. Now, it's not working very well because I'm doing it in this super flat world. If you get a nice big deep lake of lava, then it works really nicely. You can see here all liquids have been pumped. Even though it clearly hasn't, there is clearly lava under here. Now, when I had it as a 1 deep, it didn't work with this water. When I had it this 3 deep, it then did work. Just make sure that it's on like a proper lava source, and it will start pumping the lava. And rather than going into this tank, what I'll do is I'll just have it coming into my lava generator here. And again, because I'm on super flat, I really don't have much space to work with. If I just place the pump, you can see it's now pumping up the lava, but obviously it basically instantly has already pumped it all, because again, I'm on a super flat world, so we didn't really get much, but you can now see it was working for a split second. It's run out of lava again. Or no, sorry, I need to right click this so it can extract, and now it's gone in. I was thinking, gosh, I did use it up very quickly. There we go. So make sure, remember, you right click the pipe to extract, and now you can see the lava generator is making power with lava. So as soon as you've got access to the nether, it's going to be a really good early game RF generator. Or the same, just using wheat for your bio generator with packed wheat, but using an item pipe rather than a fluid pipe. The next one is going to be the fuel generator. And I know what you're thinking, well, where is it then? So, with the fuel generator, it can actually burn crude oil or turbo fuel. Turbo fuel is made in the centrifuge to process crude oil, but you can just use crude oil as well. And how do we get crude oil? Well, sometimes in the map, you will see these ore boulders. And if we go into Spectator, so if you dig beneath these ore boulders, I believe it means that deep, deep, deep underground, there will be like a resource node deep in the deep slate. Deep in the deep slate! Which is what I think this is down here. Really, really, really deep. Like really super deep. There's some resource nodes, and sometimes you'll get crude oil and things, and the minerals down below. If you keep digging, there is actually a machine we can show later that will dig down to bedrock as well. But you don't have to do that. That's just one way to get crude oil. The easiest way to actually get it is, well, to be honest, sometimes you will just see actual crude oil here, and sometimes you will also see it like this, pouring out of the landscape. And obviously you're going to use a pump for this, as I showed you previously. Like down here, we can see there's probably a huge amount of crude oil. Yes, look at all this. This is all crude oil in this area here. So that's how you find crude oil. Shouldn't be too difficult. And we're going to put that into our fuel generator. This actually has 2 add-on slots, and this will generate 256 RF. So a lot more than the previous ones do. This is the fuel generator here in front of us. As you can see, it's got a tank, obviously, for the crude oil or turbo fuel. Again, you can make that in the centrifuge from crude oil. It's going to generate that power. And it's a really nice machine. It's quite big. There is also a solar panel, which is called a big solar panel. I don't believe there's a smaller one. We've got big solar panel, although it doesn't look that big. Oh, no, that's because I need to add the machine cores. So I'm actually going to kind of get under, because you have to click it on the solar panel like this. I was thinking, that's a bit small. And there we go. So, I guess that one's, there we go. Once you put the machine cores on, we have the true size of it. That was quite fun. So this one will basically make more energy, the sunnier, obviously it is, and that can make between 32 RF per tick and 224, and that will depend on the machine cores you use. So remember I said before that the machine cores only affect upgrades? Well, for the solar panel, it's a different story. It will actually affect how much power it can make. So the fuel generator makes 256. This one does between 32 and 224, depending on machine cores, and that is the big solar panel. Before we go on to the most advanced one, which is the steam producing generator, let's talk about add-ons quickly, because we do need to use add-ons to make steam, and that's going to be the best way to make power. It's more advanced. So any generator, let's take our bio generator. I can shove some wheat in here and chat about it while we're doing it. I'm going to get my packed wheat. I'm going to put that in the bio generator. So if I go into my JEI and do @Ori add-on, you can see we've got quite a lot of add-ons here. And the mod developer has actually put it in there so you can press Control and get some info. Machine speed add-ons, there's machine capacitor add-ons, machine acceptor add-ons. fluid add-ons, which is the one we're using on the Centrifuge to allow fluid processing. There's a machine yield add-on, doubles the byproduct amount in the Fragment Forge, increases block breaking yield in Block Destroyer and Enderic Laser, and things like that. So there's loads of different add-ons we have here. But the one we're going to be talking about is the boiler add-on. And I also just want to talk about, before we do, just to go on to add-ons a little bit more, is the machine extender. Remember I said, depending on which ones you use, depends on how many add-ons. So you can see on the biogenerator, for example, we have 2 add-on slots. If you want to add more layers, because remember I said at the start that the higher the machine core you use, the more add-on layers you can have. Well, we can use machine extenders like this to add more and more add-ons. Like, let's say I want to use an energy efficiency add-on, which would be for machines that use energy. Or maybe I want to increase the operation speed, but reduce efficiency. Let's say I'm going to add efficiency. Now, I wouldn't really use it on my biogenerator. I want to use it on something that's using energy. But what I can do is add them, adding more layers of add-ons to my machine. And I really love how this works because I can just sort of plug these in. I love this little plug system. But we can kind of do it like this to add more layers of add-ons onto our machines with machine extenders, rather than just shoving an add-on in the back like that, for example. So when I was talking about machine cores earlier and how we're actually using add-ons, that is how you do it. So these blue plugs on any machine is where you can put the add-ons, or we can go to add-ons and you can see there that the 2 are at the back. No add-ons connected. I can add machine efficiency add-ons, and you can see it says machine efficiency add-on 10%. And then if I get my extender again, put that on here. Bing, 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 bing. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does it show all 6? Yes, you can see all of them on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 it's showing, I think. Yeah, we can put loads on there. Yeah. So just play around with that. And that's how you add more and more add-on layers. And remember, it depends what kind of machine core you use as to how many layers you can put on. And there is quite a lot of add-ons that you can add onto here. The main one we're going to be using is a steam boiler add-on. If I add the steam boiler add-on onto my biogenerator, then what you're going to see now is that we aren't making RF anymore. We are not making electricity anymore. We are instead making steam. Now, if you're looking at this thinking, well, I don't see any steam, that is because we do need to use water to turn it into steam. So it's using the electrical process, or the kinetic energy, or however steam is made, heat and kinetic energy, I guess, to heat up water into steam rather than making electricity. Can I just get like a creative water tank or something here? A sink, of course. Perfect. Looking for blockheads. So I'm just going to put this here. And then I'm going to add a fluid pipe, funnily enough. Fluid pipe. You could, of course, use a pump if you're only using Oritech. And then I'm going to right-click to extract from the sink into my biogenerator here. And where to actually put it, so you need to make sure it actually goes into the steam boiler add-on. That's where it's going to take the water. So it's all very intuitive and quite realistic, actually. Rather than just shoving it in anywhere, it does need to go into the steam boiler add-on. So make sure you right-click so it can extract from wherever you're taking your water. Put that into the steam boiler add-on. And now you can see we're making steam. Let's have a look at the steam engine we're now going to use for this. Steam engine here. It's not too bad to make. Just check in case there's anything I haven't told you about. So place our steam engine. Loads of cores, please. Here it comes. Now, if we look in here, you can see it's got the RF and also 2 tanks as well in the steam engine. And this has got a blue and a red slot. I do believe in the blue slot, we're going to put our steam. So I guess we could just export it from our steam boiler. Don't mind my hideous setup here. And as you can see, the steam is going in and we're making a ton of power. You'll also see as a byproduct, we are making water. About 20% of the water will be lost. So you do need a little bit of water coming in. So you can have 80% coming in from here and create a loop, looping the excess water that you're getting back from steam back in. But you will lose about 20% of your water. You can also link these steam engines together. As you can see, I've just added another one on, and it is automatically working. So I place it like this way. Oh, not a sync. Oh my goodness. Oh no! I've actually broken it all. Steam engine. Oh my goodness. There we go. Place another one, I believe. And just go like that. And it's automatically working. So they can be linked together into like a mega steam engine. So you can really scale up your power like that. Now these will actually share energy storage, water, and steam from the first engine in the line working cooperatively. And the engine speed is going to vary based on how much steam you have in there. So the more steam you have equals more pressure, making it work faster. One thing to also note is that it won't actually work if your water tank or your RF tank is full. And remember, the chained ones will use the first ones. So if this is full at the front, then it's not going to work. So you need to make sure you're outputting the power and outputting the water to continue it working, or to make sure it continues working, I should say. So you want this to be full, but you don't want the water and RF to be full. The more steam you have in here, like I said, the faster it will operate because of the more pressure. That's where you're going to see the processing speed. You want to get it up to about 700%. That is the best efficiency that you will get it at. Anything lower or higher will result in less ideal yield. Energy is going to be output from the red slot here. So you can see red slot here, and there's also 3 red slots here. And then the blue slot at the front, which is here, is where you're going to input your steam. So you'd have power outputs coming here, and then the steam going in there. On the other side, you have another 3 blue ones as well. So these are input and output as well, I should say. So you can output. You could have your steam going in here, and then your water coming out of here, and then back into wherever you're generating the steam from. Just to go over that one more time, any generator, apart from a simple generator, which is the coal one I showed you at the start of this video, about 10 million years ago, if you've been watching the whole thing, can make steam. You just have to add a steam boiler add-on to the back. Pump in to one side of it, water, and obviously power your generator. Pump out the steam into steam engines, into a blue slot, pump back out the water and the power. And voila, that is the most... that is the highest power generator in the mod. Now that we've been through all that cool stuff, let's actually have a look at frames. Now, for any OG modded Minecraft players, you're going to think Buildcraft when you see this. This is really cool. Frame, okay? So we can make a machine frame. And what I could do, it must be rectangular. So I'm going to go... this, and then it must be empty inside. So it must be rectangular, it must be empty inside. What I mean by empty inside, the level that it's at. So kind of like where I'm standing, this must be empty. And then you can actually put different machines onto this. So the first one we're going to go and use is block breaker. Is that what it's called? Block destroyer? Block destroyer. So here we go. So when I place the block destroyer, if in the middle here, and then just add basic machine core, it's going to add the actual like proper gantry bit. I think that's the right word. This bit here will suddenly appear. So we can add like speed add-ons, etc. onto this. I'm just going to add a creative energy cube mechanism because I'm so lazy. And what you're going to see is it's going to just start breaking those blocks. And this is a really easy way of, mining out kind of like an area like this. And it will also take the items that it gets as well. It will take more time and energy to actually destroy these blocks if it's harder. So if this wasn't dirt and it was obsidian, it would take a lot longer. But you can obviously add add-ons in, like speed add-ons, to speed this up a lot more. What we can also do, if you want to go deeper, is add a quarry add-on. So the quarry add-on here, I can plop onto here. Lovely. You can see the little pickaxe. So cool. This means it's going to go 8 deeper. Now, if I add another one on, it's going to go 8 deeper, but it's multiplicative, meaning one quarry add-on, it can go 8 deep, 2 add-ons is 64 deep, and then 3 add-ons is 512. And it's basically just going to keep trying to go deeper. So the quarry add-on literally is bringing back the Buildcraft quarry. However, I mean, this is a much more modern and sexy version, isn't it? You know, let's be honest here, guys. This is really, really cool. I am so in love with this mod. I really, really, really am. If the developer is watching this, honestly, this is absolutely amazing, this mod. Yes, so we could do that and turn it into a quarry. Now, I'm going to take those quarry add-ons off because I actually want to show you something else. So the thing I haven't mentioned about these is that you can actually add multiple different items to the frame at once, or different machines to the frame at once. For example, if I just break this, because you know I'm lazy, here, and then I place, I think it would be at this level. If I basically, let's say I got rid of here, some water in, and turned this into a little farm, just like this. What I can also add on is going to be the fertilizer. So there is a fertilizer block as well. This also goes on the machine frame here, and you can put it onto the same machine frame, and you can see it automatically attaches. I'm just going to add energy to this one. Now, it doesn't require bone meal or anything like that. All it needs is water. Again, I'm just going to add a sink to here. If you do have cooking for blockheads in your pack, cooking for blockheads' sink is phenomenal. It's just unlimited water, really, and it's generally really easy to make in every single pack that it's in, unless you're in like a expert pack. I'm just going to use a fluid pipe, going into the fertilizer block, from the sink, power it however you like. And as you, oh, this is amazing. Look at this. It's literally going around and, well, it's fertilizing the crops. Wow. I'm not really a big fan of Create. I love tech mods, but I don't like Create. I like the old school tech mods like this, you know, but the kind of immersion of it, like immersive engineering, Oritech, and the immersion of Create I like. I just don't like the kind of modular system of it. Like, I get how it's amazing. I guess I'm just not good at it, and that's why I don't like it yet. But as we can see here, the fertilizer block is now fertilizing all of the crops here on the frame. What you could then do is get a block breaker. What's it called? Block destroyer. Oh my god, I keep forgetting the name of this block. Oh, it is already a moment. And as you can see, it is breaking my lovely crops, which is absolutely horrific. However, what you can get is a crop filter add-on, applicable to the block destroyer and Enderic Laser. It skips non-grown crops or animals. So I can place that on here, onto my machine breaker, or my block breaker, or block destroyer. And what it's doing is, it's going to skip non-grown crops. Now, when I was talking there, it was still doing it. You need to give it a few seconds just to recalibrate itself, so don't panic if it's still destroying your crops when you put that on. And as you can see now, it's searching for grown crops. So with the fertilizer and the block destroyer, what you can actually have is a lovely farm. So that's going to keep on fertilizing with just water, and then the block destroyer will gain the wheat, etc. Now, what you may also recall is that I said it's applicable to Enderic Lasers, and it skips non-grown crops and animals. So the hint there is that we can target the Enderic Laser where your animals would be, and it can skip non-grown animals, meaning you can breed your animals, and then the Enderic Lasers won't kill them until they're fully grown, meaning you've got a mob farm as well, which is genius. And that is how we're going to make a crop farm with the fertilizer block. Before we move on, there is also the block placer, the placer block. This does the exact same thing, apart from rather than destroying blocks, it will actually place blocks. And you can use the block placer to plant saplings and seeds. I'm assuming the block destroyer will be able to also cut down trees if you are placing saplings in here. But if you are using something that needs the seeds replacing, just add to this frame a block placer or a placer block as well. So speaking of trees, we're now going to move on to the tree cutter. This is very simple machine. It cuts trees, power it behind. There's a saw in the front, sapling in front, grow the sapling, and it's going to cut down that tree very fast. So how exciting. Really nice block there. One of the most advanced items we're now looking at is the Bedrock Extractor. Do you remember earlier I told you that out in the world you will find these kind of boulders of ore? Let's just go back up and oops. Let's just go back up and oops and have a look at those again. So whenever you see these things in the world, that tells you that there is a resource node near Bedrock. What kind of resource node is it? Well, the ores that you see here are an indication of what you will find. For this resource node, we'd look to see diamond, emerald, gold, and platinum maybe. So what you need to do is go down all the way to Bedrock. All the way. The annoying thing about this, and this is probably like my only one criticism about this entire mod, and this could be a good or a bad thing. I've only done this game, this tutorial in creative, so my criticism could be null and void if I was actually playing in survival. Is that, as you will shortly see, the resource nodes are often completely covered in turbo fuel or crude oil, which if you're using them for power is obviously a really, really good thing. You can see here there's loads of turbo fuel down in the node. So if I just keep going down, just close that off, here we go. So you may want all of this turbo fuel or crude oil, depending on which one you find down here. Or maybe like me at this point in time, you really just want the resource node at the bottom, and you'd have to pump up all of that turbo fuel or oil in order to actually get to the resource node. And that is the only annoying thing. Because with the Bedrock Extractor, you need to come down and place it on top of the resource node here. How do you know it's a resource node? Well, we saw the boulder in the overworld. Come down to Bedrock, and what you'll find is these, the literal diamond ore here says diamond resource node. So you know for sure this is the resource node below it. And it's always going to be really, really low down. I'm at minus 60, for example. So you place your Bedrock Extractor, just like any other block. As you can see here, I've placed the Bedrock Extractor, and I've added all the machine cores. I right-click it again, and it turns into the actual, Bedrock Extractor. Now, when this finishes building itself shortly, in fact, I can show you now. You can see this little hole here that's now lined up with my item pipe. So that hole, there's one over there, and there's one here. See this hole here? You can simply attach an item pipe without even having to press right-click to extract on it, and it will automatically push out the ores that it's going to be mining passively for you. Depending on what ore you place it on, will depend on what ores you get. So you've got a much higher likelihood of getting more emeralds if I actually place it on top of an emerald resource node here. The only other thing about these Bedrock Extractors is they have to be powered with Enderic Lasers. You cannot power them any other way. They must be powered with Enderic Lasers, which is actually something I think is quite good with this mod. I quite like that you have to use the lasers from the mod because it's very immersive and it's very cool. And that is how we can use these. So a few things to note on here. It will go 3 blocks down beneath it, and it will actually target the first visible ore node below in a 3x3 area. For instance here, that looks like it's going to be emerald. So you can pick kind of which one you want to actually get. I think I said before it's more likely. It doesn't seem like that. Adding on to my research here, it does look like it is actually guaranteed that you're going to get that. It does say that it extracts ores directly below it, covering the entire 3x3 area, which is what confused me. However, I've only so far gotten 49 emeralds, and there isn't a 3x3 area. Well, actually, there's not, is there? There is just emerald. If we look at sort of like a 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, so it probably would get both. If you put it, you know, if it was able to target both in a 3x3 area, maybe then. So you want to try and actually get a spot below it that has the most ores. Maybe this bit here, because it has gold, diamond, and emerald, would have been a better place to place it rather than here, where we've just got emerald, because it's going to go, you know, 1, 2, 3 sort of thing, and it can't quite reach that one. And these ores that it is mining are infinite. This ore here will not disappear. This is infinite, which is an amazing way of making like an infinite late game quarry in Oritech. The most crazy item you can make in here is a particle accelerator. This is actually a bit too complex even for me as a guide maker. And therefore, what I'm going to do after is show you another resource that the mod author has made for using this. But I'm going to explain it in full, so hopefully if you're cleverer than me with redstone, because you do need to be quite good with redstone in my opinion to use this, you'll understand. So basically what we have here is this machine, and this is a particle accelerator. In here I can input something. So what can we input? We can input two things. We're going to do one at a time. Electrum, dust, and redstone will make fluix. Overcharged crystal and netherite ingot will make a nether star, etc. And basically what I've then got, so it'll place it onto a ring here. So I can place a particle accelerator guide ring, and I've placed them in a way so that it's guiding them through a circle. So when I place this, I can right click it to change where it's going to, you know, direct. And then I have these accelerator motors in the middle, which will accelerate them using power, and I'm powering them using Enderic Lasers. And as you can see, I've got a whole ring here. So what happens is, if I put some coal dust into the accelerator, it spits it out into the ring. Can you see the particle is going round? And it'll go through the accelerators, and it's going to get faster and faster and faster. And as you can see, it's at 11, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it's going to get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker until it gets too fast, as you can see, where it flings it out, because it's way too fast, down here, because it is just too damn fast for this kind of curvature, I believe. And to get the desired result, for example, in a particle collision here, for a diamond, you need to use coal dust twice, and it needs a collision energy of 500. So this ring, it went up to 266 before the particle exited. So you'd need 250 or more, and then you'd put in a coal dust on the other side, going the other way, going at 250 or faster, because 250 and 250 equals 500. So that's the speeds you'd need on both of them to equal 500 or greater. Now, with the accelerator here, you can see you need 1,000 for fluxite, 15,000 for nether stars, etc., etc. And you can even make elytras here using 10,000 as well. So you would need really, really big rings. So this ring does work, just not up to the speeds that you'd need it to. So you can just build this much, much bigger, a much, much bigger version of this with increased curvature to you know, get the speeds you need. Or what you could have is a redstone sensor here, a particle accelerator sensor using comparators and loads of redstone, so that once it reaches a certain speed, redstone will go off and change this, and it will change the course, for instance, from here to here. So it will go from going round, and suddenly it will come back round and get pinged out here into a bigger ring that you could build. So you could have it pinged out here, and I've shown you, like, for instance, you could have it going into a bigger ring here. This only goes up to here because I need to sort of curvature it, etc. But you could have it spit out into a different ring, and then going round a big ring, and then input a different one going the other way, which, rather than spitting out here, would eventually spit out here. And then you could have it going into a different ring over here, which would then eventually meet this one, and they would collide. That's basically how you use it. You do have to be quite good at redstone and things like that, in my opinion, to be able to use this. I've put a link in the description to a Reddit post, and that is by the mod author, and he's done, or he, she, they, I'm not sure their pronouns, but they have put a 50-second video on, in my opinion, a very complex setup of how to get these items to collide, which was a bit much. Even for me as a guide maker, it was just a bit much. I mean, these are very complex, very clever mechanisms here. But I don't think you need to use these if you don't want to. Fluxite, Neverstars, Enderic Compound, Platinum Dust, a Heavy Core, which is from Minecraft anyway, Echo Shards from Minecraft, Netherite Scraps, Diamonds, Elytras, and Overcharged Crystals, which is from Oritech, which you can make anyway with using advanced batteries and superconductors. So you do not need to use this at all if you don't want to. You absolutely do not need to use it. But for making maybe Netherite farms, it could be really cool. But, you know, it's a lot of work, a lot of energy, etc. It's a very, very complicated item to use. And the last things I want to go through with you in this amazing mod are just some bits and bobs, some tools that we can also make in this mod. So the first things we have is the Exo gear. We have an Exo helmet, which grants you night vision. How do you make it? It's actually quite simple to make, actually. It's just an Enderic lens and some plating. We have the Exo chest plate, which will give you, it will charge equipped energy items. It is also unbreakable, by the way. The Exo leggings, which will increase movement speed and give you more flying speed as well. And then we have the Exo boots, which prevent fall damage. Really cool items there. There's also the Exo Jetpack and boosted Exo Elytra, which are very cool items. The boosted Exo Elytra needs electricity or turbo fuel to fly. They are faster with turbo fuel, and it charges equipped energy items as well. To use them, you just use the spacebar. Same with the jetpack. There is a normal jetpack and then an Exo version. The Exo version being better. And there's also, as well, some little items. The hand drill here. This is a rechargeable item as well, and this is unbreakable, and it functions as a pickaxe and also a shovel. It can still be enchanted like a normal pickaxe, and to charge it, just place it in any sort of energy storage block, etc., or wear an Exo chest plate, which will obviously charge your items. There is also the Promethean tools, which is a battle axe, which works as an axe. You can sneak while harvesting to break an entire tree with this one. And then there is the Promethean pickaxe. You can shift right click to switch modes on this one. So what are the modes? So number one is going to be Silk Touch, and then the second one is going to be mining in an area, which is 1 times free in an area. And again, just shift right click to change those modes. They are both unbreakable and enchantable. And then lastly, we have the chainsaw. This again is rechargeable and unbreakable, and also works as an axe and can be enchanted. And of course can be recharged using the Exo chest plate as well. And oh my goodness, there is one thing we've forgotten. There is one more thing. And that is the drone station. I can't believe we forgot this. The Droneport, sorry, not station. Making this up as I go along. This is the Droneport. Place this here, again using machine cores. Build it. Oh, look how cool this is. This is so cool. So cool. Power. I don't know why these... It's something a bug with these mechanism things. And this is why we use Oritech and not mechanism, everyone. Because mechanism is not... Helps if I use a creative energy port rather than a... Go. So here is our drone port. This is amazing. So I've hooked it up with power. This is the one I'm taking items from. Once you hook it up, you need to make a get a designator. So a target designator. And then you're going to put it on to the one you want it to go to. So your destination drone port. Oh, and look at that. We've got a delivery. Perfect timing. Oh, this is amazing. Now the drone goes down. We've been delivered a budding amethyst. So this is the one I want to deliver to. Now there's a few requirements here. It must be 50 blocks apart, minimum. And of course the chunk that it's going to needs to be chunk loaded. However you want, of course. So I'm going to shift right click the drone port with my destination target designator. I'm going to fly back to the OG one, so the one I'm sending things from. And then I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to place it into here. And it says target port set. Drone will deliver whenever the inventory is not empty. Now, if you're thinking, am I 50 blocks or not? It will come up with an error if you are 50 blocks and closer. So all I now have to do is input items into here. Maybe it's by an item pipe. Maybe it's manually. Let's say I want to move these small nickel clumps. When they're in here, you see the drone. It's taken them. I'm not actually sure how much it can carry. And it's going to sort of, I think it just disappears. And then maybe it goes on to like a timer and then will reappear near the one it's going to. Yeah, see, here it is. Yeah, I think that's what happens, which is really cool. And then it's going to deliver the items. And that's going to happen automatically. I've then put an item pipe on and put it to extract by right-clicking it, meaning the items are going to come straight into this chest here. Amazing long-distance logistics using drones. Really simple to use. Absolutely amazing. And that, everybody, is Oritech. I really hope you enjoyed this guide. It was a hell of a lot of work to do. I had to learn this mod from start to finish to do this guide. I'd never used it before. And wow, it is absolutely hands down one of my new all-time favorite tech mods. I never thought something could tear me away from Mechanism, but I think it has just happened. I really, really do. If you did enjoy this video and it was helpful at all, please do click that subscribe button. It really, really does help support the channel. Leave a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts below if you like this mod or not. If there's any new mods out there that you'd like me to cover, please let me know. I'm always searching for the newest, hottest mods or anything interesting that you would like guides, etc. on. And if you go to my channel as well, you'll see here on the homepage there is a Minecraft shelf. I do lots of Minecraft mods. I've only started this a few months ago from actually doing Minecraft mods on this channel, and it's mainly going to be a Minecraft channel now. Trying to cover as many mods as possible for you to make sure that no matter the version, no matter the type of mod, etc., that you get the guides you need. So do let me know any other mods that you would like to see. And click the playlist you now see on screen as I have a whole other tutorials, etc. for Oritech.